Welcome to Ram and Goat Astrology. Join Helena and me, Laura Lee, each week as we take you on an explorative journey of astrology and health, reading charts, talking planetary energies, while educating and entertaining you. We help you navigate the mysteries of the stars and how they affect you personally. Here we go.
So
Hello,
yeah,
hello.
chatting about emotions here.
Yeah, and I just asked Laura, "How are you?" And she's like, "Let me feel into it." And we start talking about, like sometimes maybe people expect not to tell you how they feel when they ask you. Like here, I don't know if it's a Swedish thing, but I feel like the times when I do actually, when I'm honest, and I'm like, well, I feel like people go, what?
Yeah.
Is she gonna what? No, they just
Tell
wanna,
me all of
I'm
the
good,
truth,
how are you? Bye.
right? Because they were just having a nicety, right? They were being nice and saying, "How are you?" which apparently is a nice thing to do. But to ask the question and not actually want the real answer
Mm,
always bugs me. So in the last
yeah.
15 years of personal development stuff, I will now ask people, do you really want to know how I am, or do you want me to just say I'm good? And
Yeah.
then I put the ball back in their court, and then they're like, well, crap.
Mm. Because it is a really nice question if you mean it.
Exactly. If you mean it, if you want to know how I am, like, thank you
Mm,
for asking. I appreciate that.
yeah.
But you genuinely want to know.
Yeah.
And then you got to take a moment to evaluate, right? So you just asked me, and I'm like, I didn't know how I was. I hadn't thought about
Yeah.
it yet. We had a um, child last night wake up at my 11-year-old woke up at 4 in the morning with a yucky belly. Well, I on New Year's Eve had puked a couple times. It's like a real light bug that goes
Mm.
real quick. And then my 9-year-old had a yucky tummy yesterday, but didn't throw up. Philip had one like 3 days ago. So it's going through our family. But she was struggling and struggling. And finally at about 7 a.m., she finally vomited and then went to bed. But that throws off everything when you
Mm.
don't sleep.
Yeah.
So then we got up, and I had two of the kids and me scheduled to go see the chiropractor and get all of our heads on straight. And so we just went to that and then came home, and then I quickly ate and got everybody directed to who needs to be doing what. And the toddler didn't want to wear clothes right now. She wanted everything off. So she's running around with little pigtails sticking off the top of her head, and they look like little, like, I don't know,
Antlers.
water fountains shooting off her head and running around naked because she can. So,
Yeah.
and then I grabbed an apple in my water and I came out here and said hi. And you're like, how are you? I'm like, I don't know.
Let's
It's a,
see.
it's a full
Yeah.
moon in Cancer
And you
tomorrow.
asked, yes, I know. I saw when I was walking home from work today, I looked up and I'm like, because it's been an intense couple of days, and I just looked up and I saw that the moon is almost full. I'm like, damn you, it's
Yep.
you. What are you gonna bring?
Right? I know I hadn't thought about this one at all. And I saw a post somewhere on social media about full moon coming up.
Mm,
And I was like, already? Like,
yeah,
didn't we just
I
have one?
know, I know. It's been so quick. I think I missed the new moon.
I think I did
I
too.
missed it.
No, actually,
Now,
I didn't, because it was right at Philip and my mom's birthday. So it
oh,
was,
cool.
I did his solar return. You were sick during that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but and I had Philip kind of filling in for that.
And I
And
listened to that episode and I loved it.
yeah, you did.
I loved it. Yeah.
That's awesome. We were just talking about it this morning. He was struggling with purpose issues and
Mm,
stuff, and what should he be doing. And I was like, well, you are 2 weeks into this new solar return and 2 weeks into a new decade. And it hasn't been like a chill 2 weeks. It's been a holidays and a running here and there.
the
And
birthdays.
yeah, and I was like, let's just let the energy flow and see what manifests and what develops. And he started on 2 days ago, he started play practice for the play him and Elliot are in, A Wrinkle in Time. So he hasn't been on stage since we were teenagers and we were dating.
Mm,
And so it's been, like 2.5 decades. So this is a big deal for him to be on stage and doing this and meeting new people and putting himself out there. So I'm proud of them. And we pulled some tarot or oracle cards last night, and we pulled them for our relationship and like 2023 and what this will bring for us.
Mm.
It was really, really interesting. Basically, it was you got to deal with the emotions and the hidden stuff that you haven't wanted to deal with, the shadow side, and you have to embrace it and then heal it and let it go. And you have to recognize that there's going to be a lot of deaths as far as like relationships and moving on, right? Moving on from things. And then you have to, the third card we pulled was the child. And there's a new child that will bring new life and new fun, new joy, and you have to learn how to play. And I was like, oh, shut the front door. Like, how I don't even understand sometimes how oracle cards and astrology work. It's so creepy accurate.
Yeah.
I'm having a
It
child
is.
in about 14 weeks with an Aries sun conjunct Aries Jupiter. Like, how can you not have fun with that kid?
It's gonna be so much fun. So much fun. And it's gonna be a lot.
A lot. I'm aware. I'm aware. I'm a little bit nervous about that. So this was for him and I realized there's a lot of fears and apprehension that I'm having to set down when it comes to how am I going to parent a fifth child? How am I going to fit in more energy with another child while building this business, while doing the things I love to do? How am I how, right? Like I'm lost in this like the how of it, and I think the universe is going, can you stop now, let that go and just enjoy the ride, right? The ride will take you where it takes you. You don't have to know how, Laura.
No, but it's also interesting. I mean, now this kid is coming in. It's an Aries kid. We know that, and you're an Aries sun as well. So it will be really interesting to see yourself reflected in a lot of ways. And I mean,
I'm a little nervous about that too.
Yeah, of course you are. But I mean, it's like everything. It challenges bring amazing things. So this is just like this is the fifth child. I don't know if it's your last child that you will have,
It
but
better be.
but okay, let's say it's the last child. So the last child comes in and like, okay, I am so much like you. Now is like your last chance to really see yourself reflected in like a human being that you made. So I'm gonna really reflect you here.
Yeah. Well,
And it will be like you are so much fun, you are so much fire. This person will be that too.
so here's the thing about me. I seem really fun, right? Like I really do. And I am fun. I've got this Aries 11th house sun. However, I have Saturn in the 5th house of play and children. And I am really starting to understand what that placement truly means. And I am really starting to understand that I do suck the fun out of things when I'm with my children. I have to become the authoritarian. I have to become the one who keeps everybody wrangled, right? And I'm starting to really view this as the observer, as Deborah Silverman would say, right? Become the observer of your chart, of your life. And I'm like, oh, I get so Capricornian when it comes to my kids, and I don't play or have as much fun as I want to and as I know I can. So it sucks because this placement is like, yes, I have the enviable lesson of learning how to play as I age. That's cool. But it's still a hard lesson for me, whether it's learning to play or learning to be fiscally responsible with Saturn in the 2nd house or Saturn in the 9th house and being really diligent about studies and higher education. It doesn't matter what house it is, it's still work, no matter where your Saturn is, you know? And I definitely need to learn to play with my kids more. And I think the universe was like, here you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so that's what this kid is gonna teach you.
And I just had this conversation with my oldest, who will be 14 in April, Elliot, and he has a Leo rising. And he had a really hard emotional day, New Year's Day. We were like, I was like in his bed holding him, crying. Like it was a really, really big letting go kind of a day for us. And I just told him, I said, buddy, I've never done this before. You are my first rodeo here. I don't know what I'm doing. And the universe gave me a really good one. Like you are like a piece of marble and I have to sculpt you. And the only tools I have are my words. Those are the gifts I was given, was words. And I'm trying to sculpt this beautiful masterpiece of marble. And it's like you're resisting us. And you're like, no, you can't. No, you can't. But the thing is, all you want to do is play, which is amazing. Clearly, your father and I both have lessons when it comes to play. His Aries is entirely intercepted in his 12th house, where his moon is, and his family did not play. He did not grow up in a fun family. And my parents were very, very hardworking, and both really need the lesson of play as well. So I'm explaining to Elliot, like, this is your job, is to teach us to play. And it's our job to teach you moderation.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. I'm getting it like the bookends, right? The first and the last are definitely going to teach us the introduction to play and moderation. And then the last one's going to go, screw that. Moderation's not a thing. So, you know.
But it's so nice he has such a like such an honest conversation with him to say, like, you know, this is my first rodeo, like you said, like, I know as much as you know about this. Like, let's just figure it out together. We all want the same result. Like, let's just, yeah.
That was one of those parenting moments where, like, my heart was just so in this mama mode and this nurturing mode, and I was listening to him cry, and he's like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I figure this out? And I was like, because you're 13 and teenagerville is hard, and you don't want to grow up because you're viewing it from the lenses of a child, that growing up equals you can't play and you can't have fun. And I'm sorry that you're getting that lesson from your parents. I hope you're not, but clearly you are. So let's work on incorporating more fun, but recognizing that as you age, the play changes, and you do have to have responsibility and play, right? So I brought up my brother, who's like triple Sagittarius, and I was like, he knows how to play. He does disc golf and all kinds of tournaments. Like the
sound is really weird now.
On my end or yours?
I don't know why.
All right, we're gonna just apologize for my sound issues. My microphone,
it might be a little weird.
Out of commission today. My podcasting microphone had a cord issue, and we are waiting for the new cord to come. So we'll have to roll with it. Thank you for your understanding. For those
the
of you,
the show must go on.
Well, and let's just blame Mercury. Can we just blame Mercury retrograde?
Is Mercury retrograde right now?
Yeah. And Mars in Gemini retrograde. So we got Mercury in Capricorn, and then we've got Mars in the communication sign. Both of them going backwards right now. So
I haven't looked at the chart for days.
We're gonna blame that.
Yeah, I just need to look at the chart.
It was such a beautiful moment to hold him and to recognize that even though he's bigger than me, and like our relationship is changing, like I still need to remind myself to soften and just be there when he's having these hard moments, and not try and fix it and not try and change it, and admit that I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know at all how to parent a triple Taurus child. Like, I don't. I got nothing, people. I got nothing.
So please send Laura your best ideas for triple Taurus kids.
I did find a podcast, because that's what I do, right? My 64% air brain wants to get information. If I don't know something, I need to go find somebody who does know it and has shared it, whether in a book or a podcast. And so I found a podcast that this guy, it's called Parenting Today's Teens. And he is like a teen psychologist for like 45 years. And he has 660 plus episodes. And I was like,
oh my God.
I bet I would learn something listening to it.
What's it called?
Parenting Today's Teens.
Oh yeah, you said that. Okay. Parenting Today's Teens.
With Mark Gregson.
Shout out.
I listened to the episode called Being a Pioneer of the Digital something. And it was about phone usage and electronic usage with teenagers. It was really good. Being a pioneer of the digital age. So I turned to that, and I've listened to a couple of them, and I feel better already. Like, oh, good. I have somebody who can give me some kind of guidance.
What do you remember, like one thing that was like, that was a key turner in my brain?
Yes. The lady who wrote in has 3 boys, 15, 13, and 9. And she was having struggles with phone usage and responsibility, and she was putting more and more restrictions on the phone, and it was causing more and more tension. And this is exactly what's happening in our house. And it was, she said if she gives full reign, he'll be on it for like 11 hours a day. And my brain was like, whoa, that's like, I get mad after an hour. I get really mad. So I'm not in the same spectrum of that much usage, but he said, when you think about how humans work, when you tell them they can't do it, they want to do it more. And I was like, oh, that's how I work. When you stick Aries in the 11th house, that's what you get. You get someone who's like, you can't tell me what not to do it. Now I'm going to go do it. Right. So he said, you have to really entrust responsibility with them and based on their age. So the 14 or 15-year-old, yeah, they can get a job and they can pay for their phone. And here's the deal. You say, I'll pay for your phone as long as you respect the house rules, which are A, B, and C. You know, like no going on porn, no going after 10 o'clock at night, and no, whatever the house rules are, you respect these. If you don't, I'm not paying for your phone and you have to pay for it. And that's the end of that conversation. And so he said, we want to teach them responsibility and respect and not restrict. And I was like, I feel that. And I've been restricting and attempting to teach responsibility. And I feel like I'm going against my own self. But I don't know. My kid has all fixed signs. He's got Leo rising, Taurus, and then a whole bunch of crap in Aquarius. So
yeah, what do you do with that? So, yeah, because fixed energy is fixed. It doesn't move. It doesn't, you're a very, it's stubborn energy. You don't want to change.
No.
Unless it comes from within.
Yeah. So I don't know where I came up with this analogy of marble sculpting, but I kept thinking of all these beautiful sculptures in all of the the European museums of art and the Louvre and all that, right? Like I'm trying to think of these beautiful sculptures I've seen over my lifetime and how much patience and work and the amount of time it had to have taken to sculpt this beautiful marble or granite piece, right? And I'm thinking about, I've only put 13 years into this kid. This is going to require more.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about water also, how water moves. How water shapes stone as well, like over time, so slowly.
Yeah, that's so funny you said that because the kids got a rock tumbler for Christmas. And we are
a rock tumbler.
Yeah. So we're into like crystals. I've got crystals all over.
Oh, yes, one of those. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So we go to the lake all the time. We live on Lake Michigan, and then we frequently go up to Lake Superior. And there's agates and all kinds of amazing rocks, and they're raw. Well, we've got tons of these raw rocks. Well, my parents got them a rock tumbler, which is great. But it takes a month to do this. It's like a week with this grit and then a week with another grit, and then you put water and sand and you tumble it and it has to run for a week, like each cycle. And I'm like, oh, that's so long. And then on the box it says, well, this process takes millions of years in nature. So
yeah. What did Elliot think? Did he like it?
They all loved it. Yeah. So we filled it up. I actually just paused the tumbling for our recording because I'm like, I can't. It's not too bad on the noise. It's just gets a little
that's cool. So
a little agitating after a while.
You can do things like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so pretty. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a whole bunch of them in there. We took
crystal.
pictures of them before, and now we'll take pictures of them after. So we'll see.
That's cool.
I mean, that even takes a month to do, just these couple little rocks, right? So
I didn't know it took that long. Now I really appreciate these things so much more. This was way too cheap. Way too cheap.
I know. So how's it been over there?
Well, like I said, I think I said that it's been a lot this last couple of days.
The new
I think
year's been a
also,
little bit tough, hasn't it? I feel like it's
yeah,
a bumpy start.
yeah, and I thought it was just me or like here, but I don't know. I get a sense that it's a little bit like it's a global thing, perhaps. Yeah, it just feels like it's been a lot of heavy, sort of stagnant energy. It doesn't feel like new year, new you, new life kind of
No,
vibe. It's and I don't know either, like this might not feel the same for anyone else listening, but I mean I live in Sweden too, so this is the time where it's so dark here in the north,
it's
and a lot of people are depressed.
yeah,
Honestly, people are walking around being depressed because I mean we don't get any sunlight, so
and nobody's taking enough vitamin D.
no one's taking enough vitamin D, and even if I do, it doesn't. I mean, I still feel like this because probably there's something else I'm deficient in that doesn't pick up the vitamin D. I don't know, but it's also like, I don't know. It's tough. It's a very tough time of the year.
It is. I agree.
And
And
Corona on top of that. Ugh.
you know, and you know as well as anybody, but Capricorn energy is a tough energy.
Yeah.
It just is. You know, you gotta respect it for what it is. It's a
Yeah.
foundation energy.
Yeah.
And you know, we're hanging out with two major planets, drive and ambition, which has been retrograde for a while and will be for another couple weeks. And then we've got Mercury retrograde. And I know that happens 3 times a year and is not as big of a deal, but still, when you start off the new year with
Mm.
the way your mind works, going backwards, like
Oh my God.
it's hard to move forwards. It
And that's
really
literally has to be how it's been feeling. I felt like my mind has been going backwards, and I, have not felt this new fresh energy that I so long, and I
yeah.
so long for spring. Who, yeah, so I'm not great, but today is better than the last couple of days. Uh, uh,
I think the Cancer full moon tomorrow is
yeah,
also a major factor,
release
right?
point.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
So, full moon energy is all about letting go and releasing, and Cancer rules your home. Girl, you should see what I have been doing for the last 24 hours. Holy
What
man.
have you been doing?
It started out yesterday morning. I woke up and I was trying to find something in one of my Facebook groups. And like I wanted to show my husband something about a farm thing, and I couldn't find it. And I couldn't find it. And I'm a lot of air signs. We know that. So I'm involved in a lot of groups and a lot of connections. And I ended up leaving, I'm not even joking, over 80 groups. Like leave, exit, leave the group.
You're
Leave.
in that many groups?
I'm still in over 50.
Oh, okay.
Let,
I think I'm in like 5.
let's just let you sit with that for a minute, right?
Yeah.
But this is how a Venus in Aquarius on your MC and a sun in the house of Aquarius shows up. I am very socially active online. Like that's where I am. It can get a little bit over the top though. And this Cancer full moon had me cleaning house. And I was leaving groups left and right. And it felt so good to get it cleaned up. I ended up letting go of a couple like friends where I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Like, why am I friends with you? Who are you? So I cleaned up Facebook, which took a while, but was really necessary. Then I ended up doing the girls' bedroom right after that, like purged all of that, dressers, everything cleaned up. Then I came out to my office, it was our separate garage, and my husband converted it into a studio. And I started purging almost everything out here. It looks like a disaster because the drawers are emptied, the counters are on the table. Like I have everything everywhere getting stuff. And I have there's like 6, 7 boxes and bags right by the door, ready to go out to the van to get.
Oh my God, that makes me feel so good. Those
So
purge, clean, all of those words when you say it, I feel like how my whole being is like,
yeah,
yes.
it feels amazing. And I didn't even realize it was Cancer full moon, but man, is that not a Cancer full moon activity? Like, I'm going to purge my house and purge my living area and make my home healthier. That's such a Capricorn Cancer energy that I'm rocking.
Yeah, like let's work hard on making these things at home feel nice and purging. Yeah, I want to do that too.
Yeah, it felt so good.
That's what we should do. That's what all of us. I mean, this episode is released a week after, but still, go purge whatever you can. That's sort of what I did a little bit before this recording, but verbally, which was really nice.
We got to do that too.
Yeah.
Too. This morning, I actually gave Philip an assignment, and I said, "Where is your journal?" He's like, "Well, it's here." I said, "When was the last time you opened it?" "I don't know." "Okay, get it out right now. I'm giving you an assignment." So I gave him 3 quotes to start with. I think one of them was, "I am worthy to be here because dot dot dot," and then the next one was, "My purpose in life is dot dot dot," and it was open-ended phrases, right? But these are the things he's struggling with, and I think it's really interesting because he was an oops baby, and he was conceived about 3 months after his brother was born, and he's never really felt like he's supposed to be here. That's like just not where he feels.
Has Chiron on his sun or on his ascendant?
Rising, yeah. So, which makes so much sense. And the cards we pulled last night, the oracle cards, were about like letting that crap go, right? Like, it's time to release that. Clearly you're supposed to be here. Clearly you have a purpose here. So it's time to release those things now. So his journal assignment was that. So when I came home, he was doing his assignment to journaling. He says, "Do I have to turn this in?" I'm like, "Well, I have to see that you did it, but I won't read it if you don't want."
Principal Laura.
But it's interesting because his chart really like screams, your wife is going to kick your pants to move. Like, that's what you're going to marry somebody who's going to be beneficial and get you to take action in life. So it's been fun to develop with him. In fact, I'm doing a speech on next week, Wednesday, on a thing called 5D relationships. And it's basically about moving from a relationship with another person, a lover, a spouse, or whatever, from like typical life into a more spiritually evolved connection, and like how that process happens and what that looks like. So I'm excited to be on this panel. It's me and like 3 other people to be on this panel and talk about this ascending into 5D relationships and what that looks like. And I guess I've never thought about us doing that, right? When you're in the middle of it, you're not like, "Oh, this is what I'm doing," right? So I'm very curious to see how this ends up turning out and what I end up saying.
Yeah, let's see. So it's interesting for everyone also, but for you, because let's see what you're gonna say.
And it's not really something I can prepare for. It's got to be the energy of the event, and
it will come from the heart. It will be amazing.
It will. But I think this is kind of the thing, right? We sat and pulled cards for our year ahead. This morning he's struggling, and I'm looking at his chart, and I'm like, "Dude, you have Mars square Saturn. Like, let's look at that." And we were looking up different.
So he has it natally, or it's a transit?
Natally. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Saturn brings hard lessons.
Yeah, and
hard work
issues with parents and things like that. And it was really very, very much him. And it really stifles creativity. And that's where he's struggling to be creative with what his life purpose is supposed to be.
Yeah, because Mars is so much about also vitality and like what makes you really tick, and like what brings your passion out. So your passion is in a square, and a square is like a little bit of a tension, like it makes it a little bit difficult. That energy put between hard work and vitality and passion.
It really is. It says creates difficulty in self-expression. The main areas affected by the limiting influence of Saturn are your passionate desires and the ability for sustained effort. I've watched this man for 23 years deal with those issues exactly all the time. And it's in his 6th house of work and routine and day-to-day things and being of service. And it's square to Mars in his 10th house of purpose and what he's here to contribute to society and his career.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, sorry, that's a shit placement.
But at least we know. At least
Right?
there's that.
And I love astrology for that. We're not
Mm.
using it as an excuse. We're
No,
using it as knowledge to understand the energy
for
and
sure.
push forward through it anyway. That's what
Because then you can become the observer. When you acknowledge something like this, it brings the possibility to make yourself the observer. So you're seeing this thing about yourself, this very clear and very specific thing about yourself. Then you can pick out and look at it through a microscope and go, oh, okay, I understand. So that's coming from there. That's affecting me like this. And from there, you can actually work with it.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what we were doing. And that's why I was giving them the writing assignment and why I'm encouraging these, to be in this play and do this anyway. And just that kind of stuff. And also, asking spirit for guidance and help and asking your angels and whatever for support. I said, his sister passed away 2 years ago. I said, ask her to guide you. And he's like, well, I am. I do that a lot. I said, well, are you waiting and going with the flow, or are you trying to force it to go faster? He's like, well, probably that one. Yep. Because we don't we give the question, but then we don't let it germinate for as long as it needs to, right? It's like planting winter wheat in September or October and then being mad that it's not germinating in January in the middle of a snowstorm, right? Like, you got to let it in the ground for the time it needs. And maybe that means it germinates in March, maybe in May. You got to be patient. That's like, I can't get
You
mad.
mean like you can actually ask the question? Let's say if I want to ask Spirit a question, you mean that I might actually have to wait months? Or like, do you like, because
years even.
What?
Years.
Yes. Yeah. Because I feel like, I mean, I'm a spiritual person, but I feel like I have trouble getting through to the energy sometimes. Like I don't, and sometimes I ask for signs and I ask for direction and for answers. And then I'm like, "Oh, it didn't work. I didn't get that sign that I wanted."
Let me give you an analogy. That would be like saying, oh, I want a baby, I want a baby, I want a baby, and then getting pregnant and getting mad that you have to wait 9 months for the baby to develop, right? Like the baby's not just there instant. You have to wait patiently. And this is what my children have taught me. I wanted children, and we tried for 5.5 years for our first one. 5.5 years. I journaled, I prayed, I talked to spirit, I did the church, I did all of the things. We did fertility clinics, we went the adoption process. Like, we did everything we could to force our family to come when we thought we needed it. And spirit was like, actually, this is your lesson. You need to wait. And you to put time and effort into your health, and you need to clean up your diet and your nutrition. And oh, look it, now you have a kid. Oh, here's another one. And I got 3 in a row.
Here's another one.
And now I got 2 more. So I think if there's anything I've learned from spirit and anything I've learned in this journey on Earth School, is that spirit does listen, spirit does answer, whether that's for you, God or Jesus or whoever, angels, whatever you term that. Your prayers do get answered, but they do not always come when you want them to, or in the way you think it should come.
Or the answer that you wanted.
And that's the humbling part of Earth School.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that you're not getting through to spirit. I think it's that you have an idea of how spirit should respond and when. Like you text someone and you're like, you didn't get back to me in 5 seconds.
Yeah, because sometimes I have Neptune in my 12th house. I dream a lot. I think this placement makes you dream. I have proof of it. I've heard others. It makes you dream so much. And we remember, I mean, everyone dreams, but Neptune 12th house, we remember the dreams. So I've asked, like, tell me in a dream, show me in a dream.
And are you tracking your dreams?
No, I'm not tracking them, but I mean, in the morning, I always think about them, and I'm like, oh, okay, it was this and that. You know what? Actually, I think if I would start writing my dreams down, I'm sure I would get some
I'm
answers.
literally, somebody is in my head going, we're giving her the answers and she's not writing it down.
Oh, I just had shivers. That's probably
You're
happening. Someone's
telling
probably yelling at me in my dreams. And
you're telling me you're getting your
yeah.
answers, but you're
Mm.
like, but I don't want my answers that way.
Or like, that wasn't clear enough.
It is never clear.
Dream world is dream world.
That is, oh, that's just comical.
Oh.
That's so, it's like you want them to give you a phone call, but they're sending it via poetry. And you're like, I don't
Yeah.
want poetry. I want it.
Or like maybe they're showing me a picture and then trying to be a little bit like it's a little bit abstract. And I want them to go, hey, so step one.
Yeah. You want the structure, the concrete structure. No, Capricorn, you cannot have it that way.
That's so funny. Today I was talking to a colleague and I was asking, like, I was like, you know how I like meetings and stuff? Can we have more meetings about routines?
Shut up, you did not.
I did. About two different things. I asked about two different new meetings
We need
every
to just
week.
pause on that. You asked if you could have more meetings about routines.
Yes. Or like want more routine meetings. I had more meetings every week about how work is done. And like, yeah, I like that.
So adorable.
But I admitted, I was like, maybe everyone's not like me. If this is just for me, then let's scrap it. Let's not do it. But
were other people interested?
It was just me and my boss. So I don't know.
And the other Virgo guy in the room, huh?
I hope there'll be some other Earth people with me because I really want these meetings.
I don't mind meetings and I don't mind discussing routine, but there better be some flexibility in there. And
yeah, well, the job that I have is super. It's like it's always like you're just everywhere. No week is the same, so it's super like flowy like that. So for me, I'm like, okay, can we just have these two meetings, like one on Monday where we just go through the week and like look at things and write down Monday, Tuesday, blah, blah, blah.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, that works. That makes sense. I guess I do that a little bit at home with my family. I have Virgo in the 4th house, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
and this person has a Capricorn moon as well that I talked to, so I'm hoping that she will. I think she understands me.
That's so funny. Of course she does. Of course. That's funny. But you're also recognizing that in your solar return this year, you had a lot of Cancer energy. And in order for you to nurture yourself and feel healthy, you do need to know what's expected of you. That's, you need that Capricorn knowledge of what is expected, what is my job, what is your job, are we all on the same page? And that in turn helps you to feel nurtured and safe and healed with, past traumas and whatever. So that you're living in your chart, in your energy.
Yeah. Well, I started peeking at my chart for the next year. And then I looked at the year after and the year after and the year after. It's
Isn't it fun to do?
It's too much fun. It's too much fun. And it's interesting. I think next year I would be a Virgo rising.
I'm going to be a Taurus rising.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
You're going to be at home. I'm glad you think it's nice. I'm not sure yet.
No, I mean, you're an Aries. You might not want to, like, Taurus energy for me is all about just, staying at home, cooking, just take it slow and steady.
Which I guess makes sense if I'm having a baby. I mean, that totally makes sense. And I'll have a Cancer moon, so that makes sense too, right? But my husband's a Taurus rising. Gertie's a Taurus rising. My best friend Jade is a Taurus rising. So clearly I like being around the energy. I don't know if I actually want to be that energy for the year, but I don't have a choice.
Yeah. No.
No, that's one thing I am curious to do is take some time. So what I'm doing right now is I'm writing my book, my full-length book, and it is called Burning the Lies of Healing, My Journey to Becoming a Medical Rebel. And it really incorporates all of my birth charts. So first of all, burning would be by fire, and lies would be all my Libra placements. And then healing would be my 6th house Jupiter and 6th house Uranus and all that, and 12th house moons. So like it incorporates that. And then my journey to becoming a medical rebel is the Aquariusness within me and bucking the system and doing things when they told me, no, you can't do it this way, I said, watch me. I'm going to go do it a different way, you know? So my book is about all of the healing and all of the stuff I've been through. And I'm diving into the hormonal issues and the teeth issues and everything. And as I'm exploring this, a lot of weird stuff is coming up with memories that I've forgotten about, but I've got all my journals from that time frame. And I'd be very curious to go back and look at each year's solar return for that year and see. Oh
my God. Yes.
I know, right? I feel like I'd never finish the book if I did that. But I'm so curious as I dive into these various years. Right now I'm working in year 2003 and 2004 is where that's the time frame I'm writing in. And it was not a good time for us. It was very unhealthy in many, many ways. We were learning a lot about each other, a lot about relationship, and a lot about how to be who we were. Well, that was when we were turning 21 and 22, and you don't know who you are at that age, you know? So I'm tempted to dive into all the solar returns, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to get so distracted and go down a rabbit hole. But it would be fun.
It's so much fun. I'm getting really into that as well. Like, it's just so interesting. I've been looking at like families, solar return charts as well, and it's just so much meat to chew on. It's just so much to chew on from that information, because we have our natal chart, we have everything that makes up our whole, you know, our whole being. But then you have this other layer of, okay, well, how will this affect you this year? You get thrown like another layer thrown onto you.
I think it's almost like wearing a different style of clothing for the year, right? Yeah. Like you get it. Like, let's say, so my hair's real long. For those of you who aren't watching the video, my hair's real long, and I've had very, very short hair as well. But I feel like your solar return for the year is like, maybe I got a new haircut, maybe I dyed it a different color, and maybe I wear completely different clothes. And that's what I do for that year, right? Yeah. It's still me, but the flavor I'm trying on for the year and the energy I'm playing with is the solar return energy. That's how I understand it. It's like you get to dress up.
Yeah, or like how people go, like, this is how people, you know, like numerology.
Yes.
How people say, like, this is your year 2 or your year 5. Like, it's the same thing, but a different name.
I was just looking that up. I'm actually a 3 for this year. Normally I'm a 7 in numerology. And this year, 2023, is a 7 year. But yeah,
so you're usually a 7.
Yep, I'm usually a 7.
I'm a 6.
Oh, that makes sense.
I actually don't know much about numerology. So what's a 7 mean?
Very enthusiastic and energetic and exuberant and willing to try all the new things, sociable, you know, all the shit my astrology chart says.
Yeah. And what is number 6? I don't remember.
Caring, very down to earth. I gotta get my book up there. I haven't looked at it in a while. I was just looking this up like 2 days ago.
I do remember when someone told me about this, I'm like, oh, that sounds exactly like me.
Yeah. It's really, really, it's again, another layer, another interesting thing. So for this year, my personal year, it says for a 3, the energy represented by numerology personal year number 3 is a year of increased creative and inspirational energy, creative expression, creative inspiration, more opportunities for social interaction. All these tend to be more present. Creative expression may be through personal artistic endeavors or a deeper association with the arts. Creative inspiration may be an expression of imagination. There's enthusiasm that is more abundant and is a desire to entertain. It's likely to be colorful and eventful year. Well, let's think about this. Jupiter will be transiting through Aries for 5 months and go over my sun sign. So let's just start there. That's happening in the 11th house of putting myself out there. Tomorrow, I'm speaking on a woman's event, online event, about food and feminine transformation and learning to receive love and food in a healthier way. I'm speaking on that. And she has like 380 people in that event. I'm speaking on Monday at another ladies event. I'm speaking on Tuesday. I'm speaking on Wednesday. And I just got invited to speak again in like 2 weeks. And I'm like,
Amazing.
oh, okay, Jupiter is in Aries. I can feel it. And I'm not really doing much except for maintaining the connections and staying involved with these people, right? I'm not really like excessively putting myself out there. I'm just doing what I love to do, which is offering astrology and health readings to people. So
it's amazing. It's amazing. And I thought about when they talk so much about creativity, and I mean,
yeah,
you're growing a baby, you're doing, yeah. That is creative energy as well.
Yes, a very creative. In fact, so creative that the baby showed up while I wasn't even working on creating the baby.
Yeah.
I was creating business and financial stuff, and baby's like, "Hey, me too." Okay,
I want to be in on this.
So, and we have our studio, and I've been organizing it, and I'm basically like a hobby store. I do crocheting and knitting and beads. Apparently I rock tumble now, right? Like I paint. So all of that is here. And I've got now almost 5 kids who are just as creative.
Really into it as well. Yeah. Right?
Oh, and I just wrote a children's book 2 weeks ago too. Did I tell you that?
No. You just you didn't mention that. You wrote a children's book.
Okay, so for lack of a better description, Spirit downloaded it in my head. Okay. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was very clear. I woke up one day, it wasn't a dream, but I woke up one day just knowing I have to write this children's book. And I brought the kids to band, and when they do band at the public school, and then while they're there, I go to the library. And I was looking up in the library catalog for books on home birth, like education stuff for children. And I couldn't find any.
Oh.
And I was like, there was a lot of like hospital birth stuff or mom's bottle feeding. And I was like, that's not what I want. And I couldn't find anything. And it really came to me very clearly after that I need to write this. And I got the title downloaded. I got like how it should be laid out and everything. And Elliot just told me not too long ago, he wants to be an illustrator, a book illustrator. And I was like, well, can I hire you?
Oh my God.
So I wrote the book in about 3 hours, and it's called We Had a Baby at Home and Other Ways Babies Come into the World. And so it focuses on home birth, like planned home birth with a midwife. It focuses on like pregnancy and like what mama goes through. And sometimes she gets crabby, and sometimes she sleeps a lot. Sometimes she throws up a lot, right? Like it talks realistically about what this looks like. And then it's told from the perspective of Elliot, Gertie, and Guinevere while I was going through my pregnancy with Saffron. So it's literally each page is narrated by a child. And oh, my mama did this, and you know, she was nursing the baby, and that means when the milk comes from their breasts, but sometimes mamas pump and they bottle feed. Some people have to use formula. Like it's very inclusive, but it focuses on the natural end of things, which is what our experience is. And so after each page, I wrote the illustration of what I wanted the picture to be. I printed it out. I gave it to Elliot. I said, can you draw these for me? And it's about 18 pages. He said, yeah, I can. So he's drawing them. I'm taking the drawing, and I got some graphite paper. And I'm now today, actually, after our recording, I plan on taking the cover image that he just finished and tracing that on graphite paper onto watercolor. And then I'm going to watercolor it, scan it into my computer, and then upload it onto Canva and make the book. I think.
Oh my God, you are amazing. This is really just blowing my mind a little bit.
It seems like such a like, oh yeah, I can do that. My brain's just like, yeah, just do this.
Yeah.
And this is very much how I function. I'll get like this nudge from spirit, like, here you go. Here's your path. Here's your next venture. Here's your next thing. And it's very interesting because we had Mary Louise on the show who does the Akashic Records. And I had a reading with her about 6 months ago. And she said, your children are a huge part of your business. And you've got to recognize that they're not separate from. They are your business, and they are massively integrated in that. And I kept going, well, how does that look? How does that work? How? And
And that
then
just came so naturally.
and I stopped thinking about the how. I allowed it to flow. And now him and I are working on this project, and it's been fun. We're enjoying it. His artistry is amazing. He's drawing exactly what I had pictured in my head. He's doing exactly what I would like hope for, and he's having fun with it. He needs a little push here and there because, you know, Taurus. But it's been really cool. So we've been working on that for about 2 weeks now. I'm hoping to have it done the end of January. But yeah, so that's another creative expression artistically that we're working on.
That's so cool. I cannot wait to see it.
I'm so excited. I don't think I ever saw myself publishing a home birth book written from my children's
You're
perspective.
just pumping out books now. Like this is number 3 in, is this number 3?
Yeah, in like 4 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would call that. I would say you're pumping out books right now.
Well, Sagittarius progressed moon started in September.
Mm-hmm.
And Gemini, Mars is in Gemini for like 8 months. So
yeah.
I feel like if I'm going to do this, this is when I'm supposed to be doing this. You know,
That's amazing.
like that's when the energy is. Jupiter in Aries. We got our drive and ambition in Gemini. My sun is in Aries. My moon and rising are in Gemini. Like I have to use the energy. And then the progressed moon just started in Sagittarius when my Dare to Express book was published in September. So I'm really, this is how I use astrology to flow, right? And it's fun when I work with it, not fight against it.
Can you see, is that the website where you saw the numerology? Can you type in, can you see my year number, what number I am this year?
Got to play around with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just typed in numerology for the year. And
Let's see what this year is. So it counts from the new, like it counts from the calendar, the new year, or it counts from your birthday.
Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah, you enter your birthday. Your numerology forecast for 2023. Let's see if this is I don't even remember what website I used, so now I gotta go figure it out. I'll have to check that out. Hang on, I'm doing that. But I know you guys are you've got a lot of interesting energy in your apartment with this Uranus and Taurus energy. Learning to embrace Uranus.
Oh yeah.
Stuff he's got going on, and anybody with dominant Taurus placements is probably feeling that energy of Uranus this last couple of years.
Yeah, Uranus is really shaking up everything and has been in Taurus for so long. So everyone with placements in Taurus, I don't know how many years it's been there for now. Maybe
since 2018. 2018.
Since 2018.
And it'll be there till 2026.
Okay, so 3 more years. So it's been there for 5 years.
Yep. I looked this one up recently.
So if you feel like you have been, like your life has been really big, like, or you have been felt shaking to the core, like your life has been shaking up around you, you might have a strong placement in Taurus, where Uranus is shaking everything up. And
it's not an easy thing. Uranus is like, you know, your nervous system and electricity and lightning and change. And I don't know if you recognize it, but Taurus doesn't really like change.
No, Taurus is the sign to least like change. And I think of Uranus like let's say like you chop down like an evergreen to bring in for Christmas, and then it goes dry, and then you shake it, and all of those things come off, and it's just it's left bare. And that's how I think that people with like their sun, with Uranus on their sun, or Chiron, or Mercury, or like a big planet like that, feels like they feel probably naked and like, who am I now? I don't have these green things on me.
Yeah.
What do I do? And this feels so strange and like a very uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a great description. I love the Christmas tree analogy. Like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I think it is something that takes time to get used to and adjust to. And that's really what Taurus needs more than anything is time.
Yeah. So I think everything and anything that's happening right now with people who have Taurus placements will take a few years to settle down, because it's electric, this energy, and it really shakes things up, and you have to wait until the dust sort of settles so you can see.
Yep, for real. You are July
27.
27.
Interesting.
1988.
1988.
Yep.
The year of the dragon.
So your numerology number for this year is a 9. People born with 9 this year, extremely knowledgeable, good learners, dig deep into everything this year, and you'll be thinking a lot. You'll be excellent at teaching what you've learned and very good at explaining how things work to people. Science, research, and analytics will be your forte this year. Are you feeling that or not yet?
Well, I have really been thinking a lot about that. I really like to teach. Yes. So for weeks, I've been thinking about that, and probably longer, because I really like teaching. I used to have courses in ceramics, and I used to work in kindergarten. So I really like that. And I'm thinking about doing something like that with astrology, like a small scale sort of thing.
I love it.
Meet up in a group. Yeah.
Overall prediction for your year indicates it will be the best year for number 9 and everyone working in the fields of research, medicine, surgery, anything like that. You'll be well liked by everyone you encounter. It's advised that you spend as much time as you can with family and friends you love. You must remain focused on your objectives and follow through on your plans. People who want to travel abroad but are unable to obtain visas will be able to do so. Interesting.
So it's a little bit like 9 house energy.
It sounds like it. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it.
So everyone who was born in the same year as me have this same number?
No, because it goes by your birth date and everything. So
okay.
I know I need to dive more into. Maybe we need a numerology person on our show.
Yeah, we need a numerology person to to tell us how this works. Because I thought it was based on your name. Isn't it?
Can be.
What I thought.
There's various types of numerology. So there's like your life path, and then there's your numerology based on your name, and there's your soul path. So it's, I guess, really similar to astrology, where this planet does this and this one does this, right?
Yeah.
So it goes, the more I've studied it, which is not a lot, but the more I've looked into it, it just gets cooler and cooler.
Interesting, because I think that where I got the number 6 from was from my name.
Okay. And my 7 for me is my life path. Like that's what my life path is here to do. So we'll have to, we need.
I feel as confused as I felt in the beginning of astrology.
Right? Which is big time confusing.
Yeah.
Big time confusing. So if there's anyone listening who has numerology experience and would love to be on the show,
please teach us.
gramgotastrology@gmail.com. We would love to learn more.
Yeah, and it would be so cool to see how similar it is to astrology, because I'm sensing it's very similar.
Okay. So this year, 2023, is a 7. And so the significance in that is that 7 is the most spiritual number. And the 7 is the philosopher and the seeker. So when we're in a 7-year cycle, this is a time of spiritual awakenings, knowledge gathering, solitude, and inward focus. That's so funny because that's what my solar return for 41 is like. It's all of that. So are you ready for self-reflection and to dive deep into the inner workings of your spiritual self? That is exactly what 2023 is inviting us all to do. And guess what sign Saturn moves into in March? Into Pisces, which is all about spiritual connections, spiritual awakenings, and doing the hard work to dive into that. That's so funny. So the collective will undergo major shifts in how we think, see, and view the world this year. Our sense of spirituality is growing tremendously, and we may see shifts in our philosophies and spiritual beliefs. That's because Pluto's going to dive into Aquarius for a little bit.
I was gonna say it's a big year. It's a very big year.
It's a big year. If you do not consider yourself a spiritual person, this year you may start to explore spirituality more, either on purpose or by accident, via some sudden spiritual awakening.
Huh.
How many NDEs are there going to be in the world? Like people dying and coming back and going, okay, I was wrong.
Yeah.
We should make some changes. So how it says how to navigate. Oh, here are some themes of each month for 2023 based on numerology. January.
Oh, okay. January's
What's money and power. Money and power. February
Capricorn.
is completion and endings, which makes total sense with the planets too. March is new beginnings and the self. April is partnership and balance. May is communication and self-expression, which makes sense for Gemini, right?
Yeah.
June is foundations and work. Yeah, that's like garden. My brain's putting all this together. That's like gardening season. Garden.
Yeah.
July is freedom and change. Well, we start Leo season in July. August is relationships and healing. That would lead us into Virgo, which is healing. September is spirituality and sacred calling. October is money and power again.
Oh, yeah. Scorpio.
Completion and endings. And December is new beginnings and the self. Interesting.
Okay.
2023, how to navigate, is a sort of internal house cleaning year. Yes.
I like that.
Go within as much as possible for the answers. The 7 is the seeker of all knowledge, spiritual and otherwise, which makes sense why I'm a 7. Like that's my life path, right? I'm over here going, how's this going to work? How's this going to happen? How do we do this? I want to know. I want to seek all of that knowledge, but that's not necessarily spiritual. Sometimes spiritual means just being and allowing the flow. So we all need to work on that this year. Its greatest purpose is to be a student of life and to commit itself to sacred calling of growth. What topics have you been drawn to that support your inner growth? Follow that path. The 7 knows that the answers we are seeking can only be found within when we silence the noise around us and allow ourselves to surrender. Oh, I like that. Feels good.
Manifest for the year. That's the manifesto.
I like that. Look at us diving into new things right on the shelf.
Yeah, I was just thinking this witch in Stockholm that I told you before about. I need to write her again so she can get on the show, because she was writing. I saw her stories the other day about numerology, actually, about the coming year, and that we are 7 and how it reflects. You can also see it like the 7, and then it was reflected in another way as well. I don't remember how she did it, but it was with the tarot card. The Tower was the reflection, like the other side.
Interesting.
Which, for those that know a little bit about tarot, that's a very like chaotic card.
Yeah, the Tower I like to associate with like that structure is coming down. You need to leave now. Like you've got to get away from the building before it collapses. And I feel like that's our society is in that kind of an energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And with Uranus still like working its way through through Taurus, it's still breaking down and shaking up things, like all the foundations. But yeah, we need to get her on here as well so she can tell us more about her view.
Yeah, we need the Swedish witch and numerology person. I love it. I love it. Well, this has been a fun episode today. I'm glad we just kind of rambled. This is what we used to do, and we're like, we should record this.
This was my therapy for the week.
Right?
Yeah.
It totally is. Yeah. And I miss it when we don't meet up. I'm like, oh,
I know.
I don't have my astrology chat.
Yeah. We've been doing this for almost a year now. Like when we started. Well, when did we start with the Deborah Silverman course? Was it March or February? March. Yeah. So okay, 3 months.
That's
from
getting
a
there,
year.
though. That's an entire pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Give it to us.
Yeah.
We got to pat ourselves in the back. We're doing good.
Yeah, we are.
Well, we'll tune in next week. I don't know what we're talking about next
No,
week.
let's see.
It's always a
We'll
fun,
see.
it's always a fun game of what are we recording now.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right.
Thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for tuning in. If you would like to be a part of our show or have a personal reading done with us, email us at ramgoatastrology@gmail.com. We can't wait to hear from you. See you next week.